Welcome. This is homework solutions for IM2. This is for week 25. Here we have Thursday, January 23rd. Here I have number 1 and number 2. Notice number 1 and number 2 are the same types of polynomial. The difference is that this I am adding and this I am subtracting. Okay, so I'm gonna show it side by next on the same screen so you can see how the numbers interact. Okay, so if you watch Wednesday's solution, I told you that there are ones out in here that we're going to distribute. So once you distribute the one, nothing changes because multiplying by one gets you the same number. Now you want to start combining some like terms. So you have your 4x squared and your n squared. Okay, these goes together because they're in the n squared family, right? The second power. Now you want to look at all your first powers. Minus 4n and minus 4n. That's your first powers. You write that there. Then you have your constants, 2 and 5. You write those together. Okay, what is 4n squared plus n squared? That becomes 5n squared. Good. Negative 4 minus 4 is negative 8. Let me just show you because a lot of people freak out. Minus 4 equals minus 8. Okay, put it in your calculator. Okay, but please understand there's an n here because this is to the n, right? It's n to the first power, so keep those there. 2 plus 5 is 7. Good, there you go. Next, here, now it's a subtract. So there's a negative 1 here that you have to distribute. Remember, when we distribute, the sign changes. So negative 1 times n squared becomes negative n squared. Negative 1 times negative 4n becomes a positive 4n. Negative 5 times negative 1 times 5 is a negative 5. Okay, do you see how the sign changes once you distribute the negative 1 over? Good. Now you can start combining some like terms. Notice it's the same numbers as the third step here, but the sign is different. Why? We're subtracting. Why are the sign changes? Why is the sign different when you subtract? It's because you're multiplying or distributing by that negative 1. Okay? So it becomes 4n squared minus n squared. Okay? Then you have your original negative 4n, and that's going to be added to the new 4n. Then you have 2 minus 5. Okay? 4n squared minus n squared, that becomes 3n squared, right? Again, people are going to ask me why. 4 subtract 1 is 3, people. 4n plus 4n becomes 0. It goes away because it produces 0. Right? Negative 4 plus 4 is 0. Okay? There's an n here, people. There's n here. Okay? This is also n squared. N squared, n squared. Okay? Alright, 2 minus 5 is negative 3. So the blue, the power 1, becomes a missing term. Right? They cancel out. Good? Okay, so please, I'm going to do this in fine details because most likely you're going to be dealing with something like this on the district and state tests. The next ones are just a little bit more challenging because I just changed the terms up. Okay? Alright, here. Oh, this is easier because I actually took out a term. Alright, here you're adding. So again, distribute the positive 1 to everything here. That's how we get rid of the parentheses. Start rearranging things. 4a squared plus a squared, because these goes together. 4a squared plus a squared. These goes together. Okay? Here, if it makes you happy, x squared, sorry, a squared goes together in the box. Okay, circle. Okay, circle, circle. See, better? 5 goes there. Feeling better? If I do circle and squares? Okay, all right. These all belong to the a squared family, right? Degree of 2. Okay, there's a really 1 in front of the a here. So 4a squared plus 1a squared becomes 5a squared. Minus 4a plus 2a becomes negative 2a. Nothing happens to the 5. Good? Okay. Any questions? Okay. This, all right. This is your squared family, power 2. This is your circle family, power 1. This is your constant. Same thing here, but here you have a -1. You have to distribute that -1 to both terms. So you're going to multiply everything here by -1. So -1 times a squared becomes -a squared. -1 times 2 becomes -2. Rearrange certain things. Notice the box here for the power 2 family stays the same, right? But now it just becomes a minus 2a minus a squared. Then you have nothing happens here for the circle. It's just -2a. And now you have 5 minus 2. Okay, good, good, good. All right. Wait, something's wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. Hold on. I just saw that. This should be a 2. Wait, hold on. It's 2a. 2a, so this should be a 2. This should be a positive 2. Oh, I wrote a 4a here for some reason. It should be a 2. This should be a 2. So this should be a what? Hold on. 5 a. So 2a plus 2a becomes 4a. So this should be 4. So this answer should look like 5a squared plus 4a plus 5. Yeah, this is the correct answer. Here, this is correct because this goes together, right? This is circle, it's by itself, and you have 5 minus 2. So yeah, this is correct. Okay, I just changed this up a little bit. Okay, yeah, this should be. Did I do this on purpose? You could put an A here if you want. Yeah, here. Put an A here. Put an A here. If you put an A here, it changes the problem. Okay? If you put an A here, it changes the problem. So let me show you. So erase this step. Okay. Okay. So just have an A here. So when you distribute, it becomes -1 times a squared becomes -a squared. -1 times 2a just becomes -2a. Okay. Here, let me just show you this by hand. So anything happens to the a squares, yep, this and this goes together, right? So 4a squared minus a squared, good. Then you have your circle family, which is 2a and minus 2a, so plus 2a and minus 2a. Then you have a plus 5, plus 5, right? So 4a squared minus a squared becomes 3a squared. Okay. Here, 2a minus 2a, this disappears, becomes the 0 term. So nothing happens. So this just becomes 0 and plus 5. Okay. Here, when you add, it becomes a. When you add these two, they became a 4a because it was a 2a plus 2a. Okay. But here, it was a minus, so they canceled out. Okay. Sorry about that. Then, no, that's the wrong answer. There you go. This is the correct answer. Okay. I could tell if someone watched the videos, if you put an A here, it's acceptable. But if you didn't put the A here and solve it the other way, it's fine as well. Okay. This would be the answer if you didn't look at the A here. Okay. All right. 5 and 6. Okay. People think this is complicated, but it's like PEMDAS. Okay. When you simplify, think about doing inside the parentheses first, because something does cancel out. Do you see the 4x and the minus 4x? That becomes 0. Okay. This becomes 0. 3x minus 3x, that becomes 0. You see how it looks like after it simplifies? Good. There's a 1 here. You distribute. It just looks like that after you get rid of the parentheses by multiplying by 1. Start combining some terms. 4x squared plus x squared. That right? and you have 16 plus 9. Good. 4x squared plus x squared becomes 5x squared. 16 plus 9 becomes 25. Next, same thing, right? This becomes 0, this becomes 0, so that's how it looks like. There's a negative 1 here in front that you have to distribute. That changes the sign. So you have 4x squared plus 16. Now you have a minus x squared, and you have a minus 9. Okay, rearrange. You have 4x squared minus x squared. Then you have a 16 minus 9. Same thing. 4x squared minus x squared becomes 3x squared. 16 minus 9 becomes 7. Okay, notice this is the same process as before, but what you had to do was combine these two, simplify these. Okay, 7 and 8, same thing. Okay, but I split it a little bit more. So we could combine certain things inside of it. Nothing happens to the 4x squared, right? Nothing else happens here. But you have a 6x minus 6x. That becomes a 0. What is 3 times 3? Becomes a 9. Same thing here. 4x minus 4x becomes a 0. 5 times 5, 25. Okay, that's how it looks like. There's a 1 here. Distribute that 1 over. That's how it looks like. Getting rid of the parentheses by distributing 4x squared plus 6x squared, 9 plus 25. Good. 4x squared plus 6x squared becomes 10x squared. 9 plus 25 becomes 34. Same process here, but now there's a subtraction. So that's how it looks like after you simplify what's inside the parentheses, like I did in step 7. In number 7, here there's a negative 1 out in front that you have to distribute. Nothing happens to the first one because you're just distributing a 1 over. But when you distribute a negative 1, it changes the sign. So it becomes a minus 6x squared and a minus 25. Rearrange certain things. Here you have the power of 2, so 4x squared minus 6x squared, and you have 9 minus 25. 4x squared minus 6x squared becomes negative 2x squared. 9 minus 25 becomes negative 16. So there you go. Those are all your answers for Thursday.